Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video, and welcome to, let's just say, part 2 of episode 2 of BRAYTalks, soap talk, as I like to call it. This time, the first part of this episode, I basically 100% of the episode talked about neighbours. This time I'm talking about home and away. First off, apologies for the episode being incredibly long as it is. You guys know me by now. It must know me by now. I talk about one topic a bit too long, or I prolong any sort of topic out. So I apologise for that. Secondly, I did say at the start of that video that which as I'm recording this on a Wednesday, it's gonna be out in about tick over half an hour. Yeah, I think I set it to come out at 9:30. So tonight on a Wednesday as I'm recording this, but yeah, so so I did say that I would talk something about home and away, but I ended up didn't. Because and also number 3, time was at the essence for me because it was getting late and I had to go to work the next morning, so I had to get ready and that sort of stuff. So I had to pretty much cut it short there, but yeah, but it's proof that they had a lot more. Had a lot more to talk about neighbours than is on home and away, to be honest. But yeah, I just wanted to get stuff out. That's why I'm starting to talk about wanting to talk about some of this stuff in this series, because obviously I didn't want, that's an only non-sports topic series that I can think about. So yeah, So if you guys haven't watched the first 2 and a bit episodes, then I'll just say this. So basically, BRAYTalks is basically a series where I talk about non-sports related topics, sometimes featuring my face, sometimes featuring maybe a game that I don't feature on this channel that often. So yeah. So this one. So that said, I'm going to talk about home and away. I've actually been watching it these last few days, because I've been very recently, the last few months, been all over neighbours and that. And it's not, I said, it's not because that home and away is boring. It's more the fact that neighbours has a fair few storylines that are actually interesting, and then while home and away, it could say it has only 2 or 3 good, actual interesting storylines, and that's it. While neighbours has probably 3 or 4 storylines currently right now, maybe some that are in the works, and then some are in the back, some that possibly are at the back burner that possibly could be entering in it maybe later in the year. But yeah, but in doing so, there are some interesting things at home and away which will be coming out over the coming months, that from read that's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, that's so first off, I want to talk about what happened last week. What happened last week, and then the first few episodes this week, as well, since we're in the Wednesday, and of course tomorrow is going to be the last 3 episodes, of course a triple episode tomorrow, just to end the week pretty much, because as usual, they're both neighbours and home and away. For some reason they don't do Friday, which is obviously this is obvious pretty much. So yeah, so first off, like I haven't watched like a lot of. I did watch the first week when it came back on. That when I was holidaying in Geelong, I did try and basically watch Neighbours and Home and Away as much as I could throughout that time. Unfortunately, luckily when I was at Port Fairy, Home and Away wasn't on, but Neighbours was. Unfortunately, where I was staying, I couldn't get the internet connection. Well, the coverage and that internet coverage and that wasn't that great, so I couldn't actually watch episodes. And also for some reason the main TV that I was staying in the cabin that we're staying in, for some reason didn't have channel 10, so I was stuffed in a way. So it was. It wasn't bad, but it was just inconsistent, pretty much. But when I was at the Rocklands, I did watch Home and Away when it did come back on. About the first week, and then I sort of didn't watch it because Neighbours sort of took over for 1, and then 2, trying to get back into work life, because basically I got back to work basically about 2 or 3 days after I got back in Geelong. So yeah, but I really did get into it. But obviously the first thing I want to talk about obviously is about Bree and Remy. Obviously, of course, Remy's still recovering from that crash when the 2 thugs, 40 was dead, covered him up. Or actually no, originally they did that, but then they decided to bury him because they thought he was dead. In actual fact, he wasn't dead by that stage. So he's recovering in hospital, and you could tell that Bree's really, really full on. Really full on with this. You just about tell with that. So yeah, it was pretty much really, you could tell pretty much really she's full on with it. She's by her side, and even when Eden and Kirby came round, and she was like, oh, you need to get out of here, you need to get him the rest, which I thought, what the hell? Like, that one, they're his friends, and two, they're his band, and they're his bandmates. So it only makes sense for them to check up on him and see if he's okay. But then you see in the background there's shots of Bree obviously on the phone. She's very emotional. I'll assume that she was on the phone to her mother, and she's kept on saying, "Oh, how bad is it?" Yada yada. And I thought, hang on, what's going on here? And eventually, Kirby sees it on another occasion. Kirby sees this, quizzes her about it, and she's so adamant. She's adamant of not telling her. It's like, oh, this is my business, yada yada, sort of stuff. And she's absolutely in tears as she's saying this, and then she couldn't handle anymore. She basically said, "This has happened. My dad's in a bad way. He's and she did say that her father was on life support because of a building site, accident. So he was on life support, and the reason why my mother was on the phone to her was basically to get her down here and be by her father's side, obviously. Unfortunately, she wasn't going to do that because Remy's still recovering in hospital. And Kirby goes on and basically saying, and says, "Oh, you need to Remy will be fine," but she is but stubbornly Bree says, "Oh, no, Remy, I need to be here for Remy. I need to be strong for Remy." You know, just stubbornly, which I would get, obviously. If the one that you, a guy that you love, obviously almost died in a crash, in a head-on car to bike accident, then you'll and survives in the first person to take care of him. I get what she means, and all it took was for Remy to get out of his hospital bed, staggers from his hospital bed. I should admit, and basically says, "Oh, you need to go to be with your family. You need to go and be with your family," and she eventually relents. Which, by the way, just to speak about this, how much can Bree needs a break? Seriously, a break from this sort of stuff. I mean, firstly, it was from Jacob. All the stuff with Jacob. Then she got pregnant, which she decided to give up. She decided to give up the baby, obviously, for her sake, really. During and then obviously dealing with Remy's recovery from when Jacob deliberately tried to break his hand off during the finale a few years ago, and then obviously, just as all things were starting to be sunshine and rainbows for her and sunshine and rainbows for her and Remy, this happens. The accident happens, and then now obviously family tragedy has struck her, so she basically goes to the city and basically goes to be with her family at this important time, really, and Bree basically tells Kirby to basically, ring her if anything happens to Remy, which of course relates to this week, and particularly to today's episode as I'm recording this on the Wednesday. It says Remy is in a world of pain. Absolutely in absolute pain, absolute agony. He's taking painkillers over and over and over, trying to get rid of the pain, but nothing seems to work. Kirby was adamant to basically call Bree, but Remy's like, nah, you can't do this. At first, Eden agrees with Remy, but eventually, she comes around, and to the point where she actually rings up Levi, and Levi came around, and at a bad time, pretty much when for some reason I didn't watch this because I was having tea. I think I was having tea, I believe, by that stage. But basically he ended up puking on the ground because he was that much in pain. He basically just felt pain and basically puked all over the freaking ground. But as it turned out, everything was fine. Everything was okay, and I'm glad to see that both Eden and Levi have now since patched things up as brother and sister. Because it was a bit frosty there for a while between those two. More on Levi later. By the way, Look, now on to one of now at least the only favorite Summer Bay police officer in the Bay, obviously, and that is Rose, obviously, because obviously Cash decided, nah, stuffed the demotion. See you later. More on him later as well. So she got, because of that, she got a promotion to senior constable Rose Delaney. But as it turned out, the job wasn't as easy as she thought. It was pretty much her current job she got, but with more paperwork, pretty much, she said. But yeah, she had to deal with pretty much with a lot of stuff like you know, Rue's playing a thing with this anonymous surf club donation, which I'll get to in a bit, and a lot of other stuff, and basically it led to Cash basically saying, "Are you okay?" and that sort of stuff, because obviously he can tell that she's not handling it quite well, and plus also things closer to her is not worked out either, because Marley obviously has spent a little time taking care of Mackenzie, obviously, after recent health issues, which that's put that into question pretty much, and you can tell Marley's trying hard, very hard, and trying very hard in basically trying very hard in basically basically trying to, you know, make Rose feel better, but unfortunately it ends up not going as well. So there's doubts now there on that front. But to be fair, you wouldn't count on my boy Marley. I mean, basically, he's trying to be, he's of course, he's trying to do all things at once, you know, try and handle business, you know, try and be there for Mac, obviously, during her health struggles, and obviously being there for Rose, obviously, with this new promotion at work, so it's bloody a handful, but I don't think, but I think she'll, but I think she'll get used to it. I think she'll over time she'll get used to the new role, and besides she'll have Cash to lean on for advice if things do go wrong like it did last week. Next thing I want to talk about is everyone's popular couple from last year in Felicity and Tane. Obviously we all know, all your home and away fans know. I know, we all know what happened with them, so we're not gonna sugarcoat it. We're not gonna talk about it. Talk about it in a fair basic explanation. We all know what it was. So pretty much, and it's been brewing, and this moment I believe was brewing for weeks. I think it felt like Tane and Felicity were dancing around each other, really, and I think I'm trying to remember what it was. I think Tane basically came to hers. I think something happened, I believe it was, and then suddenly, I'm trying to think. Yeah, and then suddenly, boom! Tane kisses her, and then there was a bit of a pause for a bit, and then bang! they're into it, and there was only one place and one place only they were going. Let's put it that way. It was to the place where all the magic happens. But pretty much, yeah. So that's all that happened pretty much. Tane came to his senses and basically said it cannot happen again. Unfortunately, on the other side of things, Flick was all lax and lyrical. We can make it back together. We can make it back together. Oh, and then Tane's just basically dropped it all by saying, yeah, that what happened, it cannot happen again, and reveals that he's going to go to New Zealand. So yeah, and basically that's a signal for Felicity to officially now move on. So yeah, so pretty much, I think, but for some reason, I wonder if this is a sort of a will they, won't they get back together like kind of storyline over the next few months between these two. We've seen in the promos. We saw in the promo before the season started. Between those two, we all know that. I wonder if this storyline is maybe something, as I said, maybe a will they, won't they get that together sort of thing. I wonder. So moving on from that, on to the next order of business, and that is this so-called anonymous surf club donation. It was $30,000. They needed $30,000 to basically for the surf club to survive pretty much. And out of the blue, boom, they get the surf club gets a donation exactly of what they needed, and this donor wanted to remain anonymous. Which not surprisingly, good old JP and Alf were absolutely happy as pig and shit for the donation. Not so much Rue, not so much because she straight up wanted to find out who it was, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much straight up who it was. Pretty much. Just wanted to know who it was. Eventually got to the point, and basically she ended up freezing the surf club's accounts. Until she knew who this freaking donor was. And JP was all basically, oh come on, we need to spend it. Yada yada yada, and basically took it to a vote with all the surf club council members and that sort of shit, and it ruled in his favour, obviously, and he was happy again. He was happy as pig and shit with the result. Not so much Rue, pretty much, but still didn't deter her for basically. Didn't deter her to basically try and find out. Try to enlist Rose. That didn't work. And then basically decided why not cash is out of is not a cop anymore. He wants to get into more of the. He was gonna do a bit of security, I think he said. But then this came up, and basically he accepted the private investigator job, which not officially a private investigator, but still, we could probably say that. But yeah, so I wonder who do I think I don't have a specific name of who I think, but my question is this guy have good intentions or bad intentions? I get a feeling that this guy has bad intentions. I mean, a 30k donation for the exact amount that the surf club needed, and they wanted to remain anonymous. That has to raise red flags right there, and Rue will not be doing her job if she saw the red flags right there in front of her. And yet John and Alf and the other Surf Club Council members are basically oblivious to this. They see 30 grand and go, yeah, that's ours. We'll take it from here. While Rue's going, whoa, hang on, hold on to your horses. We need to figure out who this freaking person is. Which she is doing, and hopefully Cash helps her. With Cash's help, hopefully we find out who it is. I think, in my opinion, this guy has bad intentions. In my opinion, I think he has bad intentions. Yeah. So moving on from that. Onto an interesting sort of a storyline that has developed ever since the first week that it's come back on, and I said this earlier to Levi about Levi, and it's something and it's between him and Mackenzie, and So just a small rehashing a little bit. So what happened was basically when we don't need to get through Max or Max buddy health issues. We don't need to get rid of that. We all know that. So basically the second surgery ends. Xander and all the staff that all the people there, all her friends and family around her, decided to this event, and booked this event to basically raise awareness for for heart conditions, that sort of stuff, for people that are Mackenzie's age. Of course, the guest of honor was going to be Mackenzie. But Mac was not that keen on going at first. Even if with a little push from both Xander and Levi, which by the way they sorted things out between those two because it was a little bit frosty between those two after what happened, and basically Xander putting Mac's life at risk by basically pulling her out of hospital, releasing her from hospital a bit too early. But they sorted that out, and basically named him as the speaker for the event. Matt straight up said, "I'm not going." Simple as that. And then Levi simply said, "If you're not going, I'm not going." And basically, it was basically like a battle pretty much of who blinks first. It's first because of who's gonna blink, and basically, with some convincing, Mac does decide to go. Which eventually the event went well. Of course, Levi takes her back to the hospital, obviously, and then you can tell that she has that sort of look when she's got for someone. It's obvious. It's obvious, you could tell. And then basically Levi's like, "Oh, I guess my work here is done." And she's like, not really. And boom, plants a kiss on him. And he has this look of like, "Oh shit, what have I done?" While Mackenzie is like, "Oh, I've got a new man I like," which this hasn't happened for her in quite a while, ever since Gabe left her, and then died. Obviously, happy to see that. But this strikes a chord in both of them, and eventually when Mac gets out, does get out of hospital for a little bit. They have these, interactions, and basically, one of the times again, this time, the other time they kissed was basically when Marley caught them, and is like, "Do you normally pay visit to your patients?" and I could tell where Marley's coming from. Trying to protect Mac in a way, but at the end of the day, is this Mac's business? At the end of the day, basically, like, it's the guy that she likes, obviously. And it's a bonus. He's a doctor, so obviously, it's a bonus in a way. An absolute bonus in a way. But yeah, so an absolute bonus in a way. Then obviously, Mac, and then eventually, and then another time they basically do, get it on, and they were going to go into the room where all the magic happens, and Levi stops her, and basically just walks out of the freaking house. Basically walks out of the house without any explanation, just absolutely baffles Mac. It's like, "You bastard, you idiot, why have you freaking walked out on me?" And then basically ends up admitting that he's a married man. And then Mac goes absolutely ballistic at him. Basically, he's a married man, yada yada, and that sort of stuff. And then basically leaves. Mac's basically all emotional, that sort of stuff. But then Marley talked to her and basically said, "You know what? It wouldn't hurt to basically go to him and basically ask questions." To which she does, which she does do, and basically is like. Please, I'm love, please, and it's not a happy marriage, please. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm happily married." And he's like, and then and I remember this, she basically goes, "What changed?" And she's like, what changed? And he's like, "Well, meeting you." So basically, Mackenzie changed everything for him, and then, and basically they were going to then basically said, "Oh, maybe we should get out of each other's orbit, yada yada." It didn't work because basically the 2 seconds after they said those words, they were in the place where all the magic happens. Let's put it that way. Yeah, so pretty much, and then basically when he called it, and then his wife named Imogen called, and he was basically like, "Oh, yeah," and the look on Mac's face is like, "What have I gotten myself into?" And then pretty much afterwards, she goes berserk at him again. Basically goes, "I've just slept with you. She might go berserk," or whatever like that. And then basically, and Levi's trying to talk her down, and I'm like, mate, you are not talking her down. The moment that you slept together is when it all changed. And yeah, and basically Levi's gone, meet me at a hotel room and that sort of stuff, and so she was considering it over and over and over. Eventually she goes there and basically says, we to, like, stay away. Well, she didn't say it, but and basically what she was saying was basically stay away from each other. Let's put it that way. That's what she was implying. Basically, stay away from each other, and it'd be the good for the best of us. Pretty much. How long did that work for? Not even a week, because in today's episode, they were in each other's orbit again, and pretty much pretty much firstly, obviously Levi was catching up with Eden, obviously. So good to see that those two finally patched things up after a little frostiness when Levi came in. Levi came to the bay, obviously, and obviously Eden not so much wanting to interact with her brother, pretty much. So yeah, and then basically you could tell all that Mackenzie wanted, and he was reasonable for her moods. Like when he was not around, she was like, oh, I can't think of the word. I can't think of the expression. She was like, not grumpy in a way, but a bit grouchy in a way. I think she's like, or on edge in a way. And then when she, for example, when the interactions with Xander and Dana, she was actually quite nice to both of them, and I'm like, hang on, what the heck have you done to Mackenzie Booth? But then we found Levi in the room. Like, there we go. And then pretty much, and then it comes to the end of the night. Basically, Eden goes to get pizza to go back to the house. Obviously to get pizza. Well, pizza obviously is for Remy. So it left Levi all alone. She and you could tell he's looking for Mac, but she's not there. And I thought originally, I think I know where she is. I thought she was at the hotel. I thought somehow she's broken into his hotel room and waited for him to go inside, and maybe, I don't know, maybe something will happen there. But it ends up, she's actually waiting by his car, and then basically, they go into the hotel room and they let's just say go at it again. They go for a bit of a tattoo, you know what I mean? But yeah, but then during this time, Imogen calls him again, and he's like, "Shall I answer this? Or do I keep going? Or shall I keep doing what I'm doing?" Nah, screw this, boom, and basically goes at it again with Mac, pretty much. So yeah, so this affair, I wonder if this Imogen comes to the bay at some point. I would presume. Like if your husband, you've called your husband many times for him not to answer. I would presume over the time when and I also looked at sneak peeks at the end of the episode, obviously during the credits. And I think I try to remember who it was that knocks at the hotel room door. I'm trying to remember who. Oh yeah, Eden. I remember rightly. Yeah, and Eden knocks on the door, and basically both Levi and Mac freak out. Mac takes refuge in the freaking bathroom, which is freaking hilarious. So basically, she, I think, knocks a bit of toothpaste, knocks the toothpaste and the toothbrush into the sink, and then Eden's like, "Who's in there? What's that sound?" So yeah, it was freaking hilarious. So yeah, pretty much. So yeah, so the question there is, you know, I said about Imogen, sure, like, if you're, because I would presume that over the course of when Levi and Mac are getting into it, Imogen would ring him many times if he's not answering his phone, and which would lead to me, hang on, something's not right here. In other words, we'll find out we'll figure out where he is, and basically goes there to check on Levi, and then finds out that he has been unfaithful, pretty much, with one of his patients. So I wonder if that's gonna happen. I don't know. But surely this cannot last. This whole bloody I figure that eventually, excuse me, eventually everyone's gonna find out anyway. Now on to all the stuff with Justin and Leah. So obviously, Leah's just come back from from the mental health clinic, obviously, after she admitted that she's been, she was struggling with all stuff that was craziness. That was the battle with the cult, obviously, which almost ended in Justin almost dying, or this close to dying, pretty much. And then basically, all these problems with Justin and Leah, and all that, and Theo obviously is not happy by this, obviously, but they added a new dimension into this whole Justin and Leah sort of problem storyline here, because a woman who was in the same room as Leah entered the bay by the name of Valerie, who is played by Courtney Clark, who just quietly I think I remember read that she was starred in one of my favorite TV shows when I was little, and that was High Five. And I think she was on. I'm trying to remember I might need to look this up. I'm trying to think of what the show is called. Show was called. I remember it was on Paramount Plus. I remember rightly. It was on Paramount Plus. I'm trying to remember here. I'm trying to see here. I'm trying to. I think it is here. Here we go. So I remember reading somewhere that she was on another show. I remember most recently it was on Paramount Plus. I remember I read somewhere. I don't think it's gonna say here. I don't think. Here we go. Paper Dolls. That's the one. I knew it was Paramount Plus. I know. So Paper Dolls. So obviously she starred in the children's series High Five, and obviously most recently Paper Dolls, which was a drama on Paramount Plus, which was advertised everywhere pretty much here in Australia TV. But yeah. So she entered it. Apparently she's only a new guest character. She's a guest character, so I presume that this character's the latest victim of a trend that I've noticed recently on Home and Away in the last, probably since the pandemic began, which or more accurately over the last 3-4 years, and that is that you have these characters that come in, they have an effect on an existing character, and then when something goes wrong and lose that connection with that character, they up and leave. That's what, and it happened most recently in this whole storyline. The whole storyline when Kirby was leaving Lyric, and guy by the name of Forrest, I believe it, and then after when Kirby decided I want to go back to Lyric, we never saw him again. Pretty much, we never really saw him again. We only saw him a couple of times afterwards, and that was it. So I believe Valerie's probably going to be the next character that is going to be involved in here, pretty much. But from the interviews that I've read, it sounds like maybe she might be in longer than probably what maybe everyone else thinks. But yeah, so pretty much, so you can tell that she. So first of all, she meets obviously Marilyn and Alf, obviously, and convinces Leah to invite Justin to dinner at the Stewart's house, obviously. Yeah, and then obviously, and then obviously Leah introduces obviously Valerie to Theo, obviously, and then it leads to all four of them having dinner together, and of course, you know, it wasn't a dinner between those four without Theo playing some of the tunes, obviously, but yeah, and then basically, then Leah's like Theo. This will lead on to me next topic quite nicely. But yeah, so basically Leah said to Theo, you know, why don't you take Valerie out to see the sights and that sort of stuff. So basically, while Justin and Leah, the problem was pretty much where Justin, you know, probably overstepped the mark, which he knew that pretty much. Yeah, but set the mark pretty much, and Leah sort of admitted the mistake, but Leah said, oh, it was my fault pretty much, but Justin's like, oh, I overstepped pretty much, but yeah, so yeah, so. So then onto at Salt, Theo and Valerie pretty much, they talked about obviously a lot of stuff pretty much, and then Theo asked her, oh, what about her past, and she wasn't that keen on talking about it at first. She wasn't keen on talking about it. Obviously, she just met Theo, so obviously she was very reluctant, but which Theo understood why that was, but anyways, so yeah, and then basically eventually, the next day Valerie did tell Theo about her past, where said that she got kicked out of a party when she was about, I think she said about 16, 17. And of course her brother, obviously they respect for each other, but he was known for his judging of Valerie. And then they were arguing in the car on their way home. Then Valerie had the smart idea of opening the car while it was still driving, and eventually, and because her brother basically was distracted by her pretty much opening the door, it led to being a serious car accident. She said something like, she said along the lines of she was trying to call out to her brother, but he couldn't respond. Unfortunately, it was revealed that her brother was killed instantly in this car accident, in this car crash, which, you know, Theo was very understanding about it all and that sort of stuff, and yeah, so pretty much, so that was the painful past that she had, but from recent promos that just came out over the last day, or I think it was today, I believe it came out. No, I think not today, yesterday it came out. There's probably more to Valerie than meets the eye, apparently. More to Valerie than meets the eye. I'll get to that later. So that was pretty much it for my recap of what happened last week and throughout most of this week. With one day and 3 episodes to go in this week's episodes. So the rest of the week is pretty much this. So apparently in one of the episodes tomorrow, apparently Leah issues an ultimatum to Justin. I have a bit of a feeling, I have a bit of a hunch on what that might be, because it also says that Valerie and Justin get off on the wrong foot. So obviously, yeah, things don't go too well there. I wonder if I think the ultimatum is, if you trust me, then that's fine. Trust my judgment on Valerie, then it's fine. If you don't, then that's the end. There's no chance of us. Pretty much. That's what I think that's going to happen, I think. Or it might be something different. Who knows? But yeah. Another one also is apparently Mackenzie. Mackenzie confesses something to Tane, and I wonder if it has something to do between her and Levi. The affair between her and Levi. I wonder. Maybe at first Tane's like, "Oh, I'm happy for you. You found a new man." Yeah. And then she goes into all the yada details about the affair, and then it ties in this very, very well. I wonder if this reality check. So who gives the reality check? I think it's either it has to be either Marley or Tane. I get a feeling it might be Tane. I believe that gives her a reality check about this, because obviously he's just got home from New Zealand and basically gets told this development. I think he's gonna give his opinion on the matter, and basically and not in a nice way too. So yeah. Another one here, if I can go back here, which is the first episode. So here we go. Apparently it says here Eden fights for her rights. So I don't know what that would mean. I don't know. I don't know what that would mean. I don't know if it has something to do with Remy or not. I don't know. But yeah, and then it says later Eden speaks her truth. So I don't know what that entices, pretty much, but yeah. So yeah, and then the last one is this mysterious call that Cash gets. I wonder if I thought at first with that matter, I thought it was going to be about I thought it would be maybe about this so-called security job that he wants to chase. But I get a feeling it has something to do with this anonymous donor, and what sort of a call it is. And is it like a peaceful one at that, or is it a threatening one, a threatening call, where this person threatens him? So, well, not just threatens him, but also threatens Rue as well with trying to reveal the truth, pretty much. So yeah. So I wonder if that's the call that Cash ends up getting in tomorrow's episode, probably. So yeah, and just to add to this also, it says here Cash calls it a day. So I get the feeling that this mysterious call, this mysterious caller threatens him and basically says to Rue, with no explanation, I'm out of it. So yeah. So I believe for that to could that be true. A couple of more topics to go through. Obviously, very quickly. Just yesterday, the fair few spoilers for next week have been released. Well, Thursday's actually got released today. Actually, yeah. So I'm gonna go through this. So Monday, February 12th is first. Here we go. Tane is ready for a fresh start, which probably equates to moving on from Mackenzie. Dana plays Cupid for Harper, which is going to be very interesting. I'll get to that when we get to that get to the next episode. Marley confides in Xander. I would presume it'll be about Rose, probably. Or it might have something to do with Mac. So yeah. So either one of those two. It'll have to be something to do with Rose or something to do with Mac, probably. Tuesday. This is pretty interesting. Xander and Harper are the talk of the town. So that's who Dana sets Harper up with. Not surprisingly, in Xander. Theo and Kirby clash. Valerie leads Theo astray. Interesting, really. So yeah. So yeah. That's it. Which I'll mention that on in a bit. Kirby issues a warning to Theo. Bree falls apart. I must presume things with her father did not go down well. I get the feeling her father, unfortunately, may have passed. Unfortunately, with that. Thursday the 15th, or Thursday the 15th, I'm going to say this all at once. Thursday the 15th of February. Harper's back in the dating ring. Does Dana have a new crush? And I have a feeling I know who that crush is. Theo's desperate for more. So, I get the feeling that it might have something to do with Valerie, probably. And yeah. So yeah, the second one. So the second episode of that day. Mackenzie's affair creates tension at home. I would presume between her and Marley. And speaking of Marley serves Levi. I would presume he gives him a serve over his involvement involving Mackenzie in this whole affair thing. And the last one, can Dana keep her feelings a secret? I think I know who she has feelings with. And I'll give you a clue. she set her sister up with this guy, and I mentioned it. I'm just, you guys can guess. Or rewind this video back, and I'll mention it pretty much. And the final one is Marley's loyalties are questioned. Eden confides in Cash, and can Rue said John. So yeah. So I would presume Marley's loyalties are tested. I presume he's been pulled in one direction, trying to calm down the situation with Mac and Levi. The other arm is basically Rose, pretty much. Is basically Rose, pretty much, and yeah. I don't know what would Eden confide in Cash about. I don't know, to be honest. It might have something to do with Remy, maybe. I don't know. And then the Rue stuff. Obviously, I've said that in full length, obviously, as well. Finally, I wanted to talk about the Valerie back on Valerie again, because I said about the promo yesterday. There was a very good promo that came out about who is Valerie, and yeah, and pretty much and she has sights set on one person, which is Theo, but it might break him in a way. So basically, it's basically then that basically over the next week, Valerie and Theo get closer, grow closer, obviously, which caught the eye of everybody, including Justin, and also Kirby as well. Which for some reason the funny thing is she tells Rose about this, and Rose is like, "Who the hell's Valerie?" Which is freaking hilarious, by the way, as well. But yeah, but things get on. The one thing I have watched it a couple of times, that promo a couple of times, not just after watching the Tuesday episode, but also watching on social media, because over social media, and on the internet and that. And I've looked at it again, and also on TV as well. I've looked at it again, and I felt like, and I wonder, I have a hunch. I get a feeling it has something health related, because I remember her walk, and there was another scene with her during the promo, and it's her with a head like this. It might be something, or it might be nothing. It might just be nothing, and that this massive secret that she's hiding, maybe something different. I don't know. But my feeling is it might be health related, to be honest. Or it might not. You never know. As I always say, if you never know, if you never go. If you never go, you never know. So yeah, that's but yeah, so that's just about it for this video, pretty much. As I said, it's pretty much over an hour in this video, and I've just rambled on about topics that were not much topics that there were with neighbours. I said but still went on for about an hour. So I've dragged this out pretty much. I feel I've dragged this out enough. So I better end this video now. Like this video. Please share this to anybody who's a home and away fan. Comment down below what are your thoughts on this week's episodes, and what storylines currently right now on home and away, or on Neighbours as well, if you think about it. That you've been enjoying. Maybe you've enjoyed with the home and away the storyline the Mac and Levi affair storyline, or the Justin and Leo will they won't they situation, or in terms of Neighbours, have you enjoyed the square that is Toadie, Therese, Paul and Melanie storyline, or another storyline maybe. I don't know, but I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments about all those things. And last thing, somewhere down there somewhere, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. But until next time, guys, I'll see yous all later.